Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division gameplay today by me, Vulcan. And today I'm going to be joined by Haymaker. And on this one we are playing Colombelles on the 2v2 3v3 sized map. So Haymaker is going to be making use of the 15th Infantry in this one. I have the US 3rd Armoured, and we're going to be playing against two SS Panzer divisions in this one. SS Panzer seems to be probably one of the most popular German decks at the moment. Not many people fancying playing the 91st Luftlander, even though I think honestly I've showed a tactic that is quite useful for them. Basically the air spam tactic, which some people don't really like the use of, mainly because a lot of people aren't happy about AA not being very effective. But I would agree, I think AA in some ways does need a buff, but for now, with there only being 4 decks available, the 91st Luftlander is probably the only one that can get away with air spam anyway, and therefore makes it very fun to do so with that specific deck. By the way, let's jump this to my point of view for this game, and we might jump into the neutral perspective as we continue to have a look at the enemy positions. So my plan was to take my troops up on the right, so I have some M3HTs with the armoured rifles and one unit of the command infantry, supported by an M8 Greyhound. I also have the mortar carrier there as well, and then in the centre I have a jeep with recon. I also have another jeep with recon on this far left side, and I also have an AT gun and a unit of armoured rifles for the centre. Now Haymaker is starting with a crocodile on the far left. He's going to be making use of rifles and the command infantry with the command carriers in the centre with the Vickers machine gun. And then on the right side of the factory here, he does have 2 AT guns supported by a Churchill 5, which is the Churchill with the less HE basically gun than the AVRE. So just a bit of a lighter AVRE there to provide fire support against enemy AT emplacements and also like enemy infantry. Now unfortunately the Churchill 5 doesn't have as much armour as the AVRE, but can still be very effective if left unattended by the opponents. So all of our units are in position and waiting to go. And off we go. You can see here all of my units moving up and unloading just below the town. The idea for me is just to get into the bottom side of the town and slowly push up, not maybe to put too much pressure on the right side, but in general just sort of hold the front on the right while Haymaker makes a big push on the left and makes a concerted effort to take control of the factory. So his crocodile moving a bit of an odd path up this left side here. That is heading towards this bridge. Noticing that's going on a bit of a weird path, he does actually use an attack move order towards just the right side of this tree line. But his infantry is making good ground, and he should be able to get that into these buildings to be able to contest the factory sooner than later. Drops out one of his 6-pounders there as it gets into line of sight of the enemy APCs and half tracks. And over on the right I've now dropped out my infantry, which is going to be taking out the buildings on the bottom side of this town. Now there is a Firefly on the right side at the start of the game, and this was something that I was actually quite wary of. Of course I do have my half track here, which has just dropped off the AT gun, but that AT gun has got quite a way to go to be in range of the Firefly, so I've got to be very careful. But not too much happened on the right at the moment, just playing this very carefully. Don't want to push forwards too far in case we come under fire from enemy fire support, sorry. My Greyhound is slowly rolling up, and I've moved my half tracks over to the right so that they can provide machine gun fire onto any infantry that comes out of this forest here, and also enemy infantry that comes up on the buildings on the right side. Now over on the left, meanwhile, this HMG is going to open up onto the Panzer Grenadiers there, and the Churchill 5 with its 12 HE main gun is also going to help pin down and force back this Panzer Grenadier squad. Now what I'm doing is getting these half tracks that have dropped off some of this infantry and AT guns to come over and support the town against any counter pushes. So as you can see here, enemy Panzer Grenadier shows itself and is going to start to be attacked by the M3A1 almost immediately, and that was the plan here on this right side, just to use the line of sight cover from the left, kill infantry on the right. Now in the centre, thanks to these armoured rifles, we can see the Panzer II sitting there, as well as an enemy APC moving to the right side. Over on the left, Haymaker's Churchill trying to get on target onto the 259. But it's currently helping the Humber take out the Panzer Grenadier there. My Jeep is kind of charging down the Panzer Grenadiers at the moment, trying to take those out, but the Churchill finishing the job. Now thanks to the recce there, we do manage to spot the enemy recon squad and destroy that. And Haymaker's 6-pounder does destroy the enemy APC with the autocannon there. And now he's starting to make a push into the factory. So he would be able to take out these Panzer Grenadiers very quickly, but he is going to get pinned down pretty hard by the enemy autocannon there, so he's going to have to withdraw from that line of fire. Now all of my half tracks are supporting on this right side. Enemy mortars are going to start firing onto my infantry, which is something that I wasn't particularly happy about. Either way, at this point, we are currently just scraping a lead with 51% territory gain. Over on this left side, things going relatively well for Haymaker. He's got a good foothold into this factory, and now he just needs to push a little bit further. Got his Crocodile still moving forwards on this left side, supported by a HMG. Should be taking up cover into that tree line soon enough. There is an enemy pack gun coming up the road at the moment. Now they can't actually engage my own pack gun or the HMG there, but they can engage this Churchill. Who wants to be careful that the 50mm pack gun doesn't actually destroy the Churchill. In the middle though, things are pretty stable. You know, the recon squad's just providing me with the information I need to judge where they are going to attack me from, and this armoured rifles here pretty much just prevention to stop the battle line from caving in on us. That's one thing you can kind of take advantage of in this game that I've quite liked and I've seen quite often, is if you realise that there's only like one unit holding the front line in a certain area, you can just like spearhead through that point in order to gain so much map control. It's actually ridiculous. And I think when we start to see like games become more competitive in Steel Division, sorry, we will see like very contested front where people try and probe in different areas throughout the game. It's definitely going to be awesome. Wow, the Churchill 5 there one-shotting the enemy pack gun. That was pretty legit. Enemy infantry going to be spotted in the open here thanks to the recce. So the Crocodile is going to open up onto them, and the 222 on the left side is going to get hit by a crossfire shot as well. So brilliant job. Going to be bringing in my lightning there just to pin down that Panzer II and allow Haymaker's rifles to get away.
Careful. Enemies nearby.
Panzer Grenadiers on the left are pinned down. And eventually we should chew through them. When they're pinned down, I believe they do get a cover bonus, a quite high cover bonus. Until they start to fall back, you're not going to do a lot of damage. There we go, the falling back occurring, and they are being mown down way faster than they were whilst they were pinned. sometimes, like if you're able to relieve your own troops, it's better to just leave them pinned because they don't take as much damage. However, if they are in a position where they're out the way or on their own, I think obviously always doing the falling back is a good idea. We have caused this cone in the middle of their lands. We're currently running a 53% territory lead. It's actually pretty decent. Crocodile is here now, taking out this SPW-222 and hopefully going to get a shot on target. There we go, ammo explosion, lovely jubbly. And now he has to deal with the Firefly. So, our Haymaker is going to be rolling forwards the Crocodile slowly. Have the Recce there moving forwards as well to try and get into the tree line there and provide us with some cover. Meanwhile, some light engagements going on in the centre. Haymaker going to get up a heavy machine gun, which is basically going to try and mow down the enemy infantry as they come across the open, and it certainly does, pinning down one of the Panzer Grenadier squads. Go for a pin down onto the second one. Doesn't particularly matter at this point, as long as we just make them fall back. Should be able to clean up a lot of their infantry. So a engagement going on there between Panzer Grenadiers and Rifles. Rifles, because they are 2-starred and have the extra fire support from their own rifle leader squads, they do very relatively well. These command carriers do manage to take out an enemy infantry unit as well. Now they are all going to move round to the centre here to provide their take on the enemy. They're going to open up onto this half track. At this point, Haymaker is going to want to get these rifle leader up, because I'm pretty sure they are in range to fire the Pia from that point. But either way, this works too, getting the command carriers to force the half track to fall back. Over on the right side, not too much happening. Again, just some skirmishes really between the army rifles, or the armoured rifles, and the armoured leader. Also still got this 57mm pack gun on the right side, and then the mortar carrier as well. But phase B is finally here, so things are about to get spicy as we can bring in some serious reinforcements. And the first thing I bring in is a jumbo. First thing they bring in is a rocket strike onto my AT weapon and a successful kill, which was not ideal. There we go. So I am bringing in this lightning. That was going to attack the BF-109, but instead I just decided to use the rockets onto the 259 and try and take care of that. So the front line did go a little bit stale for a while, but over on this left side, after the failed push from Mjolnir, basically he can now move up and capture the edge of the factory like I have done many times before. Over on the left side, the Humber still moving up with the support of a second one, and his Crocodile still moving on, but now trying to cross this bridge, which does seem a little bit dangerous, but either way should be fine. Those Crocodiles do weigh a ton, especially with that big old barrel of fuel behind them. On the right, the APCs did a lot of damage to the enemy infantry here, but I pretty much had no infantry on the right side. So just some small engagements here and there. You can see that Haymaker's 6-pounders are certainly in position to cover the road should anything happen. Nothing too much going on just yet. I've got an M3A1 half track coming in with some infantry, some more infantry to support right side push. I think that's what we were hoping to do. And I've got a lot of half tracks here that are going to be able to pin down enemy infantry if I get them into the right positions. That's just bringing up some LMG rifles, I believe. My Greyhound is trying to damage this Firefly. Unfortunately, did bounce its first shot, and the second one is going to force the M8 to fall back. I do have a Jumbo on the way though, and I'm just trying to get that into line of sight. But before it gets there to engage the Firefly, I do lose the M8 Greyhound, which was incredibly unfortunate. But the Jumbo is now engaging the Firefly, and this is when we hopefully get rid of it. Now what's really good here is we do see the armoured rifles take care of the 222 for us, which does basically mean that the Panzer Grenadiers are forced to pull back. Tank engagement continues on the right side. I was just bringing in these lightnings to hit these buildings that originally had some infantry in them that we spotted. Over on this left side, Haymakers made a lot of ground. Managed to get a recon squad all the way up here to this tree line, which is really, really good. And in the meanwhile, he's still using his Crocodile to clean up infantry behind our lines. So 1 more % and we will go into a +2 lead. So that's what we were looking for at this point. We want that to tick over to 58%. Over on the right side, however, BF-109G2 has something to say about that, as they blew up one of my half tracks, and the second one is going to go down to the enemy Firefly, I believe. So at this point, not doing great on the right, not making any real progress, but definitely holding, which is all I can really ask for, really. P-51D Mustang comes in, shoots down one of the BF-109s, which is fantastic. And pretty much my air tab in the 3rd Armoured now does comprise of a lot of Mustangs. I just think those Mustangs are so required in order to stop some of the extremely effective airstrikes out of the 91st Luftlander. Because the 91st Luftlander have like those great bombers at the end of the day. And the SS Panzer also has some great aircraft, but not as many to choose from. By the way, that pesky 1% is all we need to push this to a +2 victory. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. So the Crocodile going to be opening up onto the 38 Pack 38 there. Is going to be able to destroy that. My Jumbo on the right side was popped by a Firefly, which was unfortunate. That was my reinforcing Jumbo. Not entirely sure what happened there, but basically got caught out in an engagement with that Firefly. Didn't even get really side armor here. Just, I mean, if anything, it sloped its armor towards the Firefly, but armor sloping is not modelled in this game, as far as I'm aware.
Jerry's dead.
So a lucky shot from the Firefly just killed my Jumbo. That's all that really happened. So my reinforcing squads are getting into position. I've brought up the Jumbo to try and get rid of this half track, although that's also being targeted towards the Firefly, as we are starting to bounce off the front armour of that. So the maximum range of the Jumbo is 1,000 meters. Currently, this Firefly is what, an extra 400 or 300 meters closer, which basically puts the Jumbo's AP at about 14 at the moment. So they're sitting on 3 AP higher than the Firefly there. But with the introduction of the Jagdpanzer to that fight, I am going to bring the Jumbo behind these buildings again. I'm not particularly scared of engaging a Jagdpanzer. It's just a Jagdpanzer supported by a Firefly and another Jagdpanzer. That's not what I want to see, because my tanks will just get ganged up upon. Meanwhile though, on this left side, our recon providing a fantastic array of view onto the enemy forces.
Enemies nearby.
And now we see a Panzerwerfer moving up, possibly to set up an attack onto the factory. Over on the right side, still not doing particularly great, just holding on to the bottom side of this town. Now we're being rushed down though with the Fireflies, with a Flammenwerfer and the Jagdpanzer. Let's just quickly put this to the neutral perspective so that we can see what's going on. In the centre there are some infantry here, some recon infantry, which are providing the front line in that centre. Over here we've got a couple units of recon squads. Again, these don't affect the front line, so they're sitting beyond it. And over on the far left, well, very much just expensive units. He's got the Panzer IV, he's got the Panther D, he's got the 3-star half-track there. And as long as they don't push against us, we're just going to win anyway. So it is really up to the enemy team to take the initiative. And I don't think on this left side, Mjolnir is really going to do the job with his current setup. Let's have a quick look on this right side. There is quite a lot of infantry now approaching. Panzer Grenadiers, we've got the Panzergrenadier and the Panzer Grenadiers on the far right. Now they are all approaching my armoured LMG rifles and also the armoured rifles. And furthermore, my jumbo. With that jumbo, I do not want to lose it unnecessarily at this point, because we are still in phase B. And the jumbo is the best tank that I can get in phase B for a while, until phase C, when I can get even more of them. The engagement happening here between us and the Speertrupp. And if we can get rid of this recon, we can be a bit more sneaky with the movement of my armoured forces. Because currently I'm quite scared to push forwards the jumbo towards the town, because there's so many tanks here. You've got the Jagdpanzer down the road, you've got the Firefly to the left, and then the Jagdpanzer even further left from that. And that's a big issue, because if I move up towards the town and then I face left to take this Jagdpanzer, the Jagdpanzer in the town is going to sideshot me, and vice versa. I'm just in a bit of a sticky situation. I really need another tank to come in. I've decided to bring in a Calliope. And this is going to be used to bombard this town from the enemy. And what will happen is we'll flatten all of those buildings with the rocket strike, and then hopefully be able to push forwards onto them, possibly capture them, or just kill them off outright. We are taking quite a lot of hits at the moment. So my 76mm here is just constantly firing at the Jagdpanzer, but the Bf-109 comes in with its rockets and does shoot that down. Fortunately, my Lightnings were on the case with the Spitfire Mark 9s. The Lightnings can still go in for their rocket strikes, and I made sure to use them to shoot down the enemy aircraft because it was an emergency. Either way, at this point, total victory is going to occur apparently in 5 minutes and 35 seconds. My jumbo is going to be moving up on this right side, going to be destroying the enemy armoured half-track. That definitely, is an issue to some of my own half-tracks, but not to the jumbo. Now the jumbo here does hit a special onto the Jagdpanzer, so we get the tracks broken. Now I was hoping this would mean that the Jagdpanzer wouldn't be able to sort of rotate, but apparently it turns out that they still can. At least that's what I was told by Val. We can have a look at this one here. If we move over to the left side with the jumbo, does the Jagdpanzer actually face me? That's the question. We'll just join the Jagdpanzer. Yeah, as you can see, it can still rotate even though its tracks are broken. It's a bit misleading, honestly. When its tracks are broken, it should just be fully immobilized. And I think you should be able to almost repair criticals with your jeeps and also the cargo munitions trucks. Either way, Calliope is coming in. Massive rocket strike is hopefully going to pick off a couple units for us and allow my arm leader and arm rifles to move on forwards. We've definitely dislodged a lot of the enemy infantry at this point, and this was my time to shine as I bring in multiple half tracks. I've also brought in a Command M4A1 to support my jumbo and the 76mm AT gun here. I have another one further back, so that should have been moved further forwards as well. And I think one of these was actually Haymakers. Yeah, so both of these are actually Haymakers, these 17-pounders. Then my 17-pounders further up with the 57mm M5 gun further to the left. Now, I was going to continue to try and help out Haymaker on this left side, but he's done such a good job of pushing this forwards. Got rid of a lot of the pesky units that were in the way. Now we're leading with this 59% win, and it's also a +2. So lots to enjoy in this one. Jumbo's still engaging the Jagdpanzer, not really getting any fire back from him.
One more kill.
But Flak 38 going to be destroyed there thanks to the family. Jumbo is opening up onto the Jagdpanzer, but my 76mm gun should be able to deal with that shortly. It doesn't matter, as the Jumbo comes in with the M4A1, we get a lovely line of sight onto the Jagdpanzer and finally destroy it.
We're being overrun.
So still the total victory now in 2 minutes and 7 seconds, which isn't very long at all, honestly. By the way, Phase C has begun, and it's time to bring in the big guns, really. All the Panthers need to come onto the battle map. Well, not even the Panthers, sorry, the Jumbos is what I meant, against the Panthers. So I have loads of Jumbos to use on my deck. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Hopefully not have them outclassed by the enemy Panzers or Panthers. And just like that, well, thanks to both the Jumbo Squad and the 76mm AT gun, we do take out an enemy Panther there. So working in conjunction with these AT weapons does actually work quite a treat sometimes. Especially the 2-star veteran 76mm guns, they pretty much never miss, and they can be the best friends that you ever have. Either way, we've bumped into a lot of this infantry and so on, but now I'm going to start and mortar the enemy positions here as they've taken up with Panzer Grenadiers and Sturm Pioneers. But my armoured rifles, basically they were here to use the bazooka onto the enemy mortar, because that enemy mortar was really severely pinning down a lot of my forces as I was trying to move forwards on the right side, which kind of delayed that attack quite significantly. In the centre, my Jeep 30 cal bumps into the Panzer IV and unfortunately gets destroyed. My recon squad's still helping out Haymaker on the left as my push continues on the right. But since we have held a +2 for the majority of the game, we come up to 2,000 points and win the game by conquest victory. So after 27 minutes, we reach the 2,000 points required. Let's jump over to the team tab where we'll see how much work Haymaker did. So 3,170 kills there to 190 losses for Haymaker. That is absolutely insane kill death, especially considering he was fighting in the sort of factory area. Really did a great job for us there. Now if we go to kills, we can see that my Calliope did get a couple of kills with its final rocket barrage, but other than that, down to the 76mm gun there. Basically all of my AT apart from this jumbo. And even the jumbo as well, they didn't do too much, they just killed infantry and half tracks. Whereas the AT weapons, well, they destroyed the Panther Gs and all sorts of armoured vehicles. But either way guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this one. I'm incredibly tired now, so I'm probably just going to pop off straight away. But that's all, so thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.